not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them. Sam, I am.
Jay said redneck rule number one. Most things can be fixed with duct tape and extension cords. That's actually very true. A camel's hair brush is made of squirrel fur. I wondered if at some point we were going to see a tall gentleman in a mechanical breathing apparatus come forward and say in a deep voice, "Mike Lee, I am your father." I am happy to yield for a question without yielding the floor.
How are you doing?
I thank the senator from Kansas, and I will tell you I am doing fabulous.
Just some of the lighter sides of Ted Cruz in the last 24 hours, as he had to fill nearly 20 hours of speech-making time to hold the floor in the United States Senate. And someone who's joining us is a politico of the first rank. He watches everything that Washington, D.C. does, and he is particularly enamored with, and I think I can say that fairly, with the integrity and the dignity with which Ted Cruz has conducted his duties in office thus far. He is heard on many of these stations. Steve Deace is his name, and his website is stevedeace.com. That's DEACE. And I've just posted on the Kevin McCullough Facebook page a read that you really do need to absorb today in order to fully understand kind of the gift that Ted Cruz gave us in the last 20 hours, and it's titled 10 Lessons That Make D.C. Listen Taught Us. It's authored by Steve Deace, who now joins us. Steve, thank you for staying over just a few more minutes. Let me ask you, I asked you what he was trying to accomplish in the 20 hours. What do you think the end result is going to be? Look a little bit down the road and tell me, what do you think happens to the Republicans who did not support him, the ones who did, and the Democrats who laughed at him the entire time?
Well, I think all you need to know about the current state of the Republican Party, Kevin, is you had Chris Wallace on Fox News Sunday say that when they announced they were going to have Ted Cruz as their guest last weekend, he had leadership aides in the Republican Party sending him opposition research on Ted Cruz in the Republican Party.
Right.
And then you had Harry Reid in the Senate stand up this morning and ask Ted Cruz if he would give him permission for John McCain to speak. I think that's all you really need to know. And I think we're at a point of no return here. You know, Sarah Palin talked about the fact that maybe Ted Cruz and Mike Lee and these folks already represent a third party. I think that's true to some extent. I might go the other way. We really have 1.5 parties in America. We have a government party, and then we have patriots. So it's really them against us versus the entire system. And I think you're going to see that play out. We've seen over 100 Republican incumbents lose primaries in the 2010 and 2012 primary cycles. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw those numbers maybe equaled in one primary cycle next year. For example, in Texas, the night Ted Cruz won his primary, you had 10 incumbent Republicans in the state of Texas losing primaries in that state. So I think you're going to continue to see mass carnage. That's what the system is up against. And I think one of the things we've learned is there's two political establishments in the Republican Party. There's the political hack establishment that once their survival instinct kicks in, and you saw this in the House with Eric Cantor and John Boehner, once their survival instinct kicks in, then it's all aboard the bandwagon, okay? And then there's a ruling class establishment who just hates you plebeians, and they'll sneer at you all the more. And that's the Robes, the Krauthammers, the so-called Fox News All-Stars, those that just want control of the process, that pontificate as, excuse me, as Senator Cruz put it last night, in deep baritone voices from on high, the sanctimonious crowd. They're not going to give in at all. No matter how you push them, you're just going to have to remove them. And I think you're going to see a lot of that kind of removal in the time period to come. We have reached a point of no return here, and I don't think it's going to get any better until one side wins and one side loses.
Steve, does that ensure Republican loss and Democrat majorities for the next several election cycles? Because it doesn't sound like what you're describing is, I mean, while the movement may be moving into the favor of the grassroots within Republican circles, it does not seem to be penetrating the larger issue of the godless left in any way at all.
Well, I think what you're seeing is we have figured out that these Republicans are actually aiding and abetting and collaborating with the godless left. And either they're just openly working with them in the cases of a John McCain, or they are mere speed bumps on their way to statism in the cases of folks like Mitch McConnell. And so I think what has happened is we have just come to the conclusion, what is the point of working with people that work with your enemy? What is the point in working with people that further the ambitions of your enemy and don't defend you? I mean, if we're not going to defend the American people against something that is every statist monstrosity, Kevin, every conservative and libertarian in America opposes, rolled into one omnibus bill called Obamacare. There's a lot of talk about what this will do to the economy, to jobs. That's all well documented. This is the greatest exporting of child killing in American history. This is the greatest exportation of child killing, and you're all going to pay for it. We all know when government subsidizes something, we get a lot more of it. This is the greatest subsidy for killing children. You're going to pay for every Kermit Gosnell in America. That's what this is going to do. On top of what it does to religious liberty in cases like Hobby Lobby, facing $1.3 million in fines per day because the Obama regime says you will do what we say, not what God says. These are fundamental liberties and freedoms that transcend political differences and disagreements. And if we can't have an opposition party that would pull out all the stops to defend us against this, then we don't have an opposition party. And I think people have figured this out. Just 2 years ago, the last real debt ceiling fight we had, the Republicans did threaten to shut the government down, and Joe Biden told the Republican leadership in the Congress, he told them, listen, we will shut the whole government down over defunding Planned Parenthood. That is our bottom line issue. We will not cross that line. If you attempt to defund Planned Parenthood, we'll shut down the whole government. And the Republicans blinked. Wouldn't it be nice if you had some Republicans who said, you know what, we're going to go to the wall for your freedom of religion, your free speech, your prosperity. We're going to go to the wall for those first freedoms because there isn't a point to even being up here if we're not going to actually defend those freedoms. And I think that's the point of no return that we're at right now.
No, and I think that every day that Obamacare lives, I think what you just said is harshly acute. And from this standpoint, I've been talking about this for months, that you have this new constitutional right to sexual liberties, whatever that is defined as, but religious liberties, which are actually enshrined in actual language in the actual Constitution, are somehow always made to come in second when they are in conflict with sex. So it's interesting that transformation is happening kind of extracurricular to the laws, and Obamacare would actually help codify that on some level. And, Steve, I know you're short on time. Thank you for staying extra with us. We appreciate your analysis and be listening for you tonight.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right. Steve Deace of The Steve Deace Show, and his website is stevedeace.com. DEACE is how you spell Deace, stevedeace.com. And his article that he wrote just in response to the Ted Cruz filibuster is titled 10 Lessons Make DC Listen. That's a hashtag, taught us, and I've now posted it at the Calvin McCullough page. I'm going to transfer it to the AFA Today page here in the next couple of minutes as well. All right, here's what I want to do. I want to open up the phone lines. I want to take your calls. 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840, and I want to know the following. Did you watch any of the filibuster? Did you react? Did you have any reaction to how anybody in the establishment or in the press or in the either one of the parties responded to this? I got an insane comment on Facebook yesterday, and I'll just read part of it. This is how nutty it was, and I'm not trying to be hurtful. I'm just this is a crazy statement in my mind. Someone says, I know you'll probably block this comment, which I haven't, by the way, because it disagrees with you, and I've watched you do that to several, but I'll attempt anyway. I don't know what she's talking about. The only people I block off of pages are people that are purposefully profane. The only thing wrong with Obamacare is the contraceptive mandate, which I will fight as long as I live. That's the only thing that this particular person thinks is wrong with Obamacare. Then this person took to critiquing the story that I did a couple of days ago in which Forbes magazine, using Medicare actuaries, not their own, Janet. The Forbes article was based on the numbers that Medicare, the federal government, provides, not Forbes people. They took the numbers that the Medicare actuaries were working with, and they just observed them, and they said, here's what Obamacare will cost for the average family. We were promised a savings of $2,500. It is now going to be an expense of $7,500, and you add those two together, that's a $10,000 swing into the negative for the average American family of four. 888-589-8840. I don't think that the contraceptive mandate is the only thing wrong with Obamacare. I think the fact that Obamacare puts all kinds of restrictions on small businesses, forces small business into behavior that they may not be able to sustain the way a larger business would, and there are a lot of large businesses that can't live up to the weight, the requirements of the Obamacare law. And I know that for people like you, Janet, who commented on the Facebook page, it's a nice theory that you think, well, companies have all this money, right? They're companies, so they have all the. Of course, they have money because they're a company. That's ridiculous thinking. Every one of these changes that cost dollars out of pocket, someone has to pay for. Someone has to pay for them. And the problem with Obamacare, as the Forbes magazine article pointed out that I referred to 2 days ago on this broadcast, that there's an additional $621 billion that the taxpayers are going to be on the hook for than what was originally revealed. I think it's morally bankrupting us as a nation to go to people and to punish them by percentage based on not their effort, but based on their wealth. I think it runs counterintuitive to the biblical idea of a tithe. But if everybody is in, then everybody needs to be in, and if everybody is going to be in, then they should be paying the same percentage as everybody else. It doesn't happen, and this law disproportionately hurts the economy, specifically small businesses, specifically businesses that hire around 50 people or between 50 and 100 people. Those are the ones that hurts the most, and those are the ones that are creating 2 out of every 3 new jobs in the country. These are just some of the things that Senator Cruz was standing up for. And let me just offer this last little fun observation that came to me in the shower this morning. On September 11th of 2012, you had a very stark contrast to what happened on September the 23rd, 2013. Just a little over a year apart. But last night, Senator Ted Cruz stayed up all night trying to defend the American people from the ravages of taxpayer-funded abortion, from the attacks on small business, from the violation of religious conscience that is included in the mandates. And he stood up and stayed up all night fighting for those things. But here, just 1 year earlier, on September the 11th, 2012, he had the American president go to bed when our soldiers, our Navy SEALs, were under attack in Benghazi. What does that tell you? One man has the ability to sleep while Americans are getting shelled. And another man loses sleep because he's worried about the future of his country. Interesting observation that the Lord laid on my heart this morning. 888-589-8840. Let's go to Jackie in Mississippi. You're up first. Hi, Jackie. Welcome to AFA Today. Glad you're with us.
Hi, Kevin. Thank you for taking my call. I just wanted to make 2 quick statements.
Sure.
Number one, Ted Cruz was standing there for me, just a plain American. My husband only makes $35,000 a year, and our insurance has doubled, and now it's going to double again. Now, $35,000 a year ain't much, but and yet we're the one that's going to have to pay for everybody else's insurance. That's not right. That's not fair. And now I'm not even going to be able to be covered.
You're being dropped from his plan?
We're not going to be able to afford it. We are not going to be able to afford it if we want to keep paying our bills. So,
Jackie, I'm sorry to hear that.
That's not right. And so he was standing there, in my stead, the normal, average, everyday American. And I can't thank him enough.
All right.
For doing that.
Thank you, Jackie. Appreciate your call. Let's go to Rich in Texas. Rich, you're up next with Kevin McCullough. The thought about Senator Cruz. What's on your mind?
Well, I had the opportunity to watch quite a bit of the filibuster, if you will. And my main comment is that it's truly sad that a freshman senator has to stand up for our rights as American citizens, not to be have our hours cut from the average work week of 40 hours to used to be part-time was 30 hours, now full-time, or 32 hours, and now full-time is 30 hours a week. And it's just ridiculous. And again, I think that it's truly sad that a freshman senator has to take this stand for us.
But I'm glad that he was willing to.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you, Rich. I feel like it's a harsh reality to get to the point now where we're seeing that government for the people and by the people is not always for we the people, and that is a difficult thing because they do work for us. This is something that I think Senator Cruz referred to multiple times, but that I think that most of the other members have, or many of the other members have forgotten. They're accountable. They're accountable to us. They go there on our behalf to do the job that we've empowered them to do as surrogates for who we are. And friends, I think that today, well, first of all, I think Senator Cruz needs a good long nap. I hope he gets some rest today. But I think he owes a huge debt of thanks. He is owed a huge debt of thanks from the average American for raising the issue, for letting America know a little bit more in detail about why Obamacare seems to be such a big mess and a danger to the American future. Kevin McCullough, glad you're with us. This is AFA Today on AFR Talks. Stick around.